Hey everyone, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm taking a little bit of time to work on my Polonia team. There's been a couple videos recently talking about Polonia and her importance and all that kind of stuff, and some mentioning of how to put the data into spreadsheets and figure it out, all that kind of stuff. But I've been actually doing it myself, and so I figured I'd make a video just showing you guys me actually tangibly working on it and kind of figuring things out and hopefully giving you guys some insight into what I'm doing. So this is on my Iron Man account. I don't have three tricksters. I don't have perfect skills or anything like that, but I did re-roll some skills recently, and our team overall is looking really, really good compared to what it was before. Couple gear upgrades, that sort of thing. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what the team's looking like, what the spreadsheets look like. We're going to change some things, probably put on some new enchantments, and just kind of see if we can make the numbers look a little bit better in our favor. So let me show you kind of what we're looking at right now. So if we go to our heroes, this is our trickster, which I just re-rolled this skill on, and we got defense and health, which is absolutely perfect. We've got a nice attack skill, we've got evasion and attack evasion. So pretty much a really, really good set of skills for a trickster now that I've re-rolled a couple of them. This is our second hero that we're running on the team. It's got health, it's got evasion, it's got attack and defense, and then health and attack. So really good skills there overall as well. I did re-roll a couple of those, and so that's looking really good. And then our third hero is the one that's not fantastic, but it's kind of the best that I have at the moment, and that is this one here. And so I've got attack, crit chance, attack, and some evasion. So ideally I would have some defense and some health here instead of 2 attack skills, but that's okay. We're just going to gear it a little bit differently and put some different enchantments on there. So those are our 3 heroes that we're sitting at right now. I don't know why this visual isn't updating, but anyways, they're all looking the same so that I can identify them in the quest screen. So let's pull up our Polonia sheet, and as you can see right now, if you look at the 3 heroes that I'm using here numbers. Can you see my mouse there? There we go. So 1, 2, and 3 is what I'm using. So down here you can see heroes 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is our trickster, as you can see here. The only thing that I don't have inputted yet is the spirits. I have bear spirits on all of them, but I haven't actually input that yet. And so if you go to the quest sim, so all 3 of those are in there, all of their gear, all their skills, all that kind of stuff. Quest sim says that success rate on an easy, which is what we're doing, Sunken Temple easy, is 99.68%. So every time we're going to finish the quest, essentially, there's an incredibly small percentage chance that we're going to fail. But the issue right now is that the minimum number of rounds is 8, and that's without even all the bear spirits. So let's I just want to show you these stats, but let's switch this up. So right now Polonia survives only 28% of the time, and the rest of my heroes, one's at 99%, that's our trickster, 91% and 84% for our worst hero that's going with these 3. And so we're going to kind of mess with this and try to get it a lot better. So let me just show you right now what this looks like in the probability calculator. And so when you look at minimum number of rounds, you multiply that by 4. We're actually going to go 7 rounds times 4 plus 1. So 4 hits per round is how many times that Polonia is going to roll her skill to see if she steals an item. So 8 rounds is like the total rounds that it's going to get to. So 7 full rounds plus 1 hit is essentially the minimum that we're going to get to. So that's 29 hits. So if we do 29 hits, which I put in here, 38% is because my Polonia is rank 6. She has a 35% chance of stealing. Plus I have 1 trickster, so it increases it 3% to 38%. And we're looking for 17 successes. So if we calculate that, which I've done already, the chance of getting 17 items with the bare minimum is 1.9%, so incredibly low. Obviously, getting the bare minimum number isn't going to happen often at all. If you go to average number of rounds, which is 12, let's say even 12 rounds is going to be 48 hits. If we calculate that, we're going to be getting max number 69% of the time. So that's not too bad. 69% of the time, on average, we're going to be getting at least 17 successes. But I want to get that a lot better, hoping that our survivability of Polonia is a lot higher. Our survivability of our heroes stays in the 90s, hopefully. And our minimum number of rounds goes up. That's the hope. So let's do this first. We're going to put all of our heroes and we're going to put bear spirits on all of them. And I just want to see how the numbers change. So bear spirit on all of those. Perfect. There is bear spirits on all of my heroes. So if we go back to Quest Sim, it doesn't update automatically. I just need to click off of one and click back onto hero one, and then it'll kind of recalculate everything for me. There we go. Okay, so the numbers changed now. Hero 1 will survive 100% of the time. He cannot die. Hero 2 is 99.8, 98.79, and 49%, which is fantastic. Basically, Polonia now survives half the time. But look at this. Our minimum number of rounds went down to 7, and our average rounds went down to 9, which means there's an even smaller percentage chance that we're going to be getting our max number of items, which is the goal. Our heroes are not going to die pretty much ever, which is great, which is fine. But I really want this fight to be extended so that we're getting more items. So what my plan is at the moment is to put spirits on our hero 1 or our trickster that is going to get it to take more damage but have more defense, so more threat rating. Basically, Polonia has a decent amount of threat. If you look here, Polonia threat rating is 60. These guys have 40, 30, and 40, which means Polonia actually gets hit more often than anyone else. And so if we go into game here, plus 10% defense and 10% and 10 threat rating. Okay, so I don't care that my heroes are doing more damage because obviously they're going to kill it no matter what, but I want to make the fight longer so that there's always more hits, so I'm getting more items. And if this guy has more threat rating, that means that Polonia is getting hit less often, and this guy has more defense, which means he still has a lot of survivability. And because my trickster has the highest percentage of survivability, I want it to have the highest threat rating. And so I'm going to change over all of the mammoths, or all of the bears that are currently on my trickster, to mammoths, and then we're going to re-look at the numbers and see what that's going to do. So let's switch back over to our sheet here, and if we go to hero 1, if we do all of these to mammoth instead, let's see what that does to our numbers. So we go back to Quest Sim, we will reset this again. Let it calculate. Wow, so Polonia's survivability just went from 49 to 60% simply because she's going to be getting hit less often. Look at this, her threat is 60, but our one hero is 100, and still has 100% chance of survivability. This has 90%. Our average number of rounds and minimum number of rounds stayed very similar. So let's continue figuring out what this is going to look like. So at the moment, the way that I'm looking at this is our heroes simply do too much damage. There's too much damage output from the extra skills that I got recently, and we need to reduce the amount of damage that we're doing so that this fight is going to continue on longer. The other thing that I can be doing is changing over the enchantments that are on my other types of heroes. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'll switch some enchants first, see what that does, and then see if I need to downgrade weapons afterwards. So let's go to our hero number 2, or hero number 3 actually, and I'll show you the type of spirit that I want to be using on that. Okay, so what I'm going to be trying here is putting lizard spirits on. Basically, I know that this hero has the lowest survivability out of all of my heroes. And so if I do switch some over to defense or threat rating, that sort of thing, but also have some decent HP regen, then this hero is not going to die if my heroes have really low attack values, which is kind of what I want if this hero has the lowest survivability. So I can add some HP regen on him, and then kind of see what that does to the numbers as well. So let's try that out here. Okay, so basically what I did here is I put mammoths on all of our heroes, and then just kept 3 lizard spirits on our third hero, so our worst hero that I had talked about. And so if we go back to our quest sim now, we still have a 100% chance of success. Polonia's survivability is now up to 63 because she actually has the lowest threat rating, which means that she's going to be hit the least often out of everyone, which is awesome. Our minimum number of rounds is up to 8 instead of 7, and averages to 10 instead of just below 9, which I think is what it was at its worst. So still not happy about longevity, but in terms of like Polonia's survivability, that's really, really good here. So what I'm looking to do now is just decrease the amount of attack that my heroes have. So what we're going to do here is keep the enchants all the same, but start reducing the attack or the weapons that the heroes have, and see what that does to the minimum number of rounds. So let's go extreme first. Let's put let's say even like a tier 1 training bow on, and then like a tier 1 for all these guys, and see what that does to the numbers. I know that's extreme, but I just want to see what it's actually going to do. Wow, that is extreme. Crazy. Guys, check this out. That's pretty wild. So we're going to need to go somewhere in the middle here, but minimum number of rounds is 17. Average number of rounds is 24. Polonia's survivability, because the fight is so long, went down to 10% instead of 60%. 10%, or about 8% of the time our quest actually fails because it's taking so long to get there. Hero 1 survives 90% of the time. Hero 2 only survives 56% of the time. Hero 3 is 76. I assume this number is better because it has some HP regen. This one's not great because it doesn't have any HP regen, and it still has a really high threat rating, right? So that's pretty wild. Let's actually go to our binomial probability. So in this way, still we're going to finish the quest 92% of the time. But Polonia is going to die almost all the time, and Hero 2 is going to die like half the time as well. But if we even put in our average number of rounds, so let's say 24 rounds times 4, so 96 hits. Let's say we hit 96 times instead. Calculate the chance that we get 17 items every single time is 99.999%. Like, it's crazy now. Because the fight is lasting so long, I can guarantee that 99.999% of the time we're going to be getting our items, but we're going to be getting 2 deaths every time as well. So we need to find somewhere in the middle. So let's keep messing with things here. Wow, that is so crazy. Let me show you guys what I did. So basically, I looked at the weapons that I have. This one doesn't give me any additional stats, it's just attack. This one does not give me any additional stats, it's just attack. But when I looked at this weapon, which is what I'm using, it gives me defense. So I figured because this guy has the lowest survivability out of all of my heroes anyways, then keeping this defense is a good thing, but downgrading the other 2 weapons doesn't really do a whole lot unless I can take it off and find something else that's going to give me a defense or something. So like, let's say I do Maplewood Gale, it's only 400 attack instead of 1900, and that gives me a bit of extra defense, something like that, right? So I can mess around with that. And then with this one, it doesn't really matter what I have. I guess same sort of thing, right? Like I can get a little bit of defense here, or I could just put on like a tier 1 weapon. Okay, because I need the spirits anyways. I need to make sure that I have all of my elements, and I can have my bear or have whatever that I want to. But with that in mind, let's pull up the sheet. So basically what I did on the sheet here is I put the training bow tier 1 for this, tier 1 for this, but then for my 3rd hero, I kept the Nightwing so that I could have the additional defense. And if you go to Quest Sim now, look at this. Minimum number of rounds is 11, okay? So that's much better than what we had it at 7 at the worst. Average number of rounds is 16. Hero 1, Hero 2, Hero 3, the lowest survivability is 94 at the moment. Polonia's survivability is 30. There's not a whole lot that we can do with Polonia's survivability. If these rounds go on long and these guys still have high threat rating, she's gonna die at some point anyway because the rounds are taking so long, but that's what stamina drinks are for. So that's perfectly fine, that there's a pretty high chance that she's gonna die. The longer the fight goes on, that's just going to happen. You can't gear her better or whatever, right? Like you just need to work your heroes around her. And of course, as she ranks up, you can give her seeds, all that kind of stuff to at least slightly increase what she's able to do. Okay. But if we go average, let's do both. Okay. Minimum number of rounds is 11. So that means that the very worst that we can do is 10 rounds plus 1 hit. Okay. So 41 hits. So if we go back to our probability calculator, if we put in 41, we press calculate, we're looking for 17. That means at the very, very worst, 38% of the time, we're still going to get all 17 of our items. And if we go here and look and say average number is 16, multiply that by 4 is 64 and a half. So let's say 66 is our average number here, okay? I really hope I did that mental math right. Am I confident? Yeah, okay, 66. So if we go 66 trials, so this is like dead average across the board. We get 66, 98%. I'm really happy with that actually. Okay, so I tweaked just a couple more minor things here. I just wanted to make sure that I'm happy with everything, that it's looking good. So let me just show you the overall of what I'm going to do. Obviously, this isn't done in game yet, but this is what I'm going to be doing. I think the biggest thing that actually changed this since I've been able to just mess with spirits and all that kind of stuff is because I rerolled skills really well, because I got additional evasion. I got a defense and health skill. I didn't have good skills before, and it was making it really difficult where I had to have bear and I had to have my best weapons. Otherwise, I couldn't even like complete it. Polonia would die almost all of the time, and it just wasn't working out. The numbers wouldn't work. But now with better gear and really good skills on the two heroes, I'm able to mess with things a lot more. So anyway, with a tier 1 bow and all of the armor and weapons that I have right now and all mammoths, that's what my trickster is going to look like, okay? For my second hero, which is my really good ninja, I have tier 1 here as well. I've got all of my normal gear that I have, and I'm going all mammoths here as well because the survivability was so good. And then for my third hero, I decided to go mammoth and then lizard. It has the defense, but it also has some HP regen, just because this guy has the worst skills out of everybody, and so its survivability was like in the 70%, and I just wasn't very happy with that. And even if I did go mammoth so that there was 10 more threat on him, it didn't change. It changed Polonia's survivability rate by like 0.5% or something like that. And so I just changed it, and now it's in the 90s. So that's what I'm sitting with. I'm going to go all mammoths on 2. I'm going to go all mammoths except for 2 lizards on the other. I'm going 2 tier 1 weapons and 1 tier 10 weapon. And if you go to my quest sim, this is what I'm going to be sitting at. Minimum number of rounds is 12. And so even at worst case scenario, still 40% of the time, I'm going to be getting all 17 of my items. And that's not even with a rank 7 Polonia. Obviously, all of these numbers can be changing. Okay, once Polonia is rank 7 and has the higher percent chance of stealing and better stats and all that kind of stuff, right? So minimum number of rounds is 12. Average number of rounds is 16.45. So like we saw, if we even at average, we have like a massive number, 98% plus success rate. And for survivability, my lowest here was 87%. So maybe I could switch out 1 for some HP regen if I want to get that over 90. But I mean, that's a super minor tweak. Polonia is still surviving 35% of the time, which is to be expected with where she's at currently with rank. And I'm totally okay with that. It's to be expected. And everything else looks really good. So that's what my Polonia team's looking like. 99% chance success rate of completing Sunken Temple easy. And in this way, I would say 95+% of the time, I'll be getting 17 tier 9s, tier 10s. And this isn't even with like a perfected team. So 1 trickster so far, and I'm really happy with the results. So anyway, hope this helps you guys out. Hope it gives you guys some insight into what actually working on a Polonia team looks like. I'm really happy with the results and the work that I've kind of done here. I just have to implement this with my actual heroes in game, and I'll be off to the races with putting this into practice and seeing how it works. So anyway, hope you learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a good week, and I will talk to you all soon. Later.